Decoded. Unverified presence. Signal corrupted.
Together the looked at the moon and felt like it was looking back at you. Not just watching, but revealing. Because what if the moon isn't just a rock in the sky? What if it's a lens that reflects everything inside you? Your emotions, your thoughts, your energy. Not creating it, just exposing it. And when that light hits, you feel it. Restlessness, tension, intensity. That's not the moon controlling you. That's you being revealed. Because when your energy is eclipsed, you don't disappear. You fragment. Scattered thoughts, unfocused energy, emotions you can't explain. That's the eclipse. Not outside. Inside. But then the full moon rises. And everything hidden comes to the surface. Amplified. Louder. Heavier. Harder to ignore. And most people react. They lash out. They lose control. They get pulled by the wave. But emotional intelligence, there's something different. It observes. It doesn't run. It doesn't react. It sees. Because the moment you see it, you can control it. So you center yourself. You breathe. You slow down. You come back to you. Because your energy was never out there. It was always here. Inside you. So you stop outsourcing it. No validation, no permission, just a source. And when you tap into that, everything changes. Now the energy moves, you create, you build, you express, you flow. Because energy that flows transforms, but energy that's blocked explodes. So you stay aware of your cycles, your emotions, your patterns. You adjust the lens over and over and over again until one day you realize something the moon never controls you. It never held your power. It only showed you what was already there. So don't fear the light. Don't fear the intensity. That's not weakness. That's exposure. That's true. That's your energy. Trying to break free. So observe it. Center it. Draw from yourself and let it flow. Because your power was never missing. It was only eclipsed.
his claws, I've seen his feast. It whispers lies, it feeds on fear, but I stand strong, the path is clear. The shadows crawl, the wing may fall, deception spreads to choke us all.
All right, all right, all right. It looks like I remembered to turn on the microphone tonight, plug in the sound board. I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower. I'm saluting you for being here, seeking after truth. We are coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of America. This is not your normal Sunday, and I hope you're ready for some unindoctrination because we got some coming for you. Wall to wall, treetop tall, coast to coast, border to border, and beyond tonight. Stargate, Decoded, Stargate, the movie Stargate, Decoded. Thank you, Crow. Great to see everybody here tonight. We got a good program shaping up. We got a lot to do. Not a long time to do it, although I don't have to do nothing. Hello to Her Majesty. She's in the building. Now it's okay to start. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Stargate Decoded tonight. But first, let me remind you, I am House MD. Well, that's House MDIV. I'm the Master of Divinity. I've been diagnosing spiritual anomalies since 1999. We go and look at the patterns, the symbols, the myths, the history to get down to the truth. We know that answers are rarely on the surface. So we go to the hidden patterns, the symbols, the esoteric history, the anomaly files, the forbidden knowledge. We diagnose, we question, we investigate, and we connect because we know that the truth is very rarely on the surface. And we're here to reveal truth, and we've been doing it since 1999. So welcome into my office. The doctor is in. I'm the Christian whistleblower, and you're divine, sovereign, and free. And I want to start off by thanking David for a great $25 donation. He did it through Cash App. If you want to donate, just ask me how. I should have put it up on the information box, but I didn't because, man, I've been deep into it today in a very, very good way. David, thank you for the $25. And just to remind you, if we get $100 donation within a week's time, so we still got time, I do promise a bonus D program. So, David, thank you for the $25 from my heart. I really do appreciate it. And I got a great piece of feedback here. I don't get this a lot, so I like to highlight it when I do. Michael says, "Hey, Jeff, you're looking very good, very healthy. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're the one that got me out of the Christian spell. I had a hard time with it, to be honest. Took me several months, but I want to thank you." Well, I thank you, Michael, for saying that, but I didn't get you out of the Christian spell. You got you out of the Christian spell. I cannot set anybody free. You have to set yourself free. But I'm happy that I was able to point you in the right direction. And you should feel good because it only took you months to get out. It took me years to get out. It took me years to get out. So your integrity is in better shape than mine was at that time.
Well, good
Check
morning.
this out.
Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower, coming to you from the Bible Chill. Hey, Barkley, come say hi. Say hi, Barkley. Hey. Oh, say hi. Yeah, Barkley says hi. And we are ready to do the little Bible Chill talk here today. It's not you. You're not doing the show. But anyway, folks,
Actually, Barkley was right.
I'm the Christian whistleblower.
Barkley was right. She is the star of the show. She does make it a better show. So going forward, our morning cold plunge videos, which are uploaded to all these platforms, will from henceforth be known as Barkley's Bible Chill. That's right, Barkley's Bible Chill. That's Barkley right there, and it looks just like her. Chat GPT is very good. I gave him a little picture and boom. And that looks pretty much like me. Cynthia likes it, so I keep it. So it's going to be Barkley's Bible Chill from now on. And Barkley, she's already working on her lines. She's rehearsing what she wants to say. So every day we will bring you Barkley's Bible Chill. And my monitor just went dark, but it came back, thankfully.
Sheldon, buddy, it's my turn to cuddle the baby. Come on, I just want to live now. Wow, you rated your own. Fine, cozy time wins. Sheldon, buddy, it's my turn to cuddle the baby. Come on, I just want to live now. Wow, you rated your own. Fine, cozy time wins.
So it appears that Barkley is not the only talented dog. I love that clip. I love animals. I like to start us off with a little bit of fun. So let's just keep on rolling. Barkley gets so many treats. I can't believe she's not fat.
Adolf Hitler is the only world leader to ever arrest a Rothschild. In 1931, Louis von Rothschild was in charge of Austria's largest bank. The bank was badly mismanaged, leading to its collapse, causing a mass financial crisis in Austria. While the people of Austria lost everything, the Rothschilds got even richer. This is very similar to the 2008 financial crisis, which led to Occupy Wall Street. In 1938, Hitler arrested Louis von Rothschild and said Austria and Germany are owed a debt. He paid hundreds of millions by today's dollars for his freedom and was still deported from Germany. 6 months after his release, World War II started. This led to 85 million deaths of mostly white Christians.
Well, he was right on until that last part, but hey, you know how it goes. Yeah, this show just went to the dogs. Absolutely, that one for sure. So Jake Shields, kudos to him for doing that. He was considering having me on the D Pro on his show. I don't know if that's still in consideration, but I would certainly count it a privilege to do so.
This is so good, listen to this.
This is Poland, and here you won't hear about grooming gangs, stabbings, or beheadings becoming everyday news. This is the result of strict immigration policies, strong border security, and rejecting the EU Migration Pact. Poland is not practicing suicidal empathy, but simply puts its own citizens first.
Well done, Poland.
So Poland, the land of responsible immigration policies and hot chicks, evidently. Who doesn't like responsible immigration policies and hot chicks?
Don't come easy to me.
What's the point of that one? Well, if you'll notice, Jason Momoa is over 6 feet. He's a great big guy. But check out the dude next to him.
Don't come easy to me.
That brother is at least 7 feet tall. And he's not exactly skinny. So they tell me there's never been any giants. They tell me there aren't any giants. Something tells me they're not telling us the whole truth, cousins.
The View was not ready for Morgan Freeman being this politically incorrect.
Regarding you, supposedly saying that President Obama is not our first black president. Can you explain to people what you were talking about?
I was playing golf with Bill Clinton not too long ago, and I said, you know, people are saying Obama's the first black president. And he's not. He's the first mixed race president. You're the first black president.
Yeah. So you were being funny.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I say, but they took it quite seriously.
Yeah, well, the thing that's wrong with this whole Obama thing is that everybody seems to forget that he had a mama and she was white.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you know.
Right. But the world, that may be true, but the world perceives...
Maybe. It is.
It is true.
And he's right, because you're not listening to some partisan political hack talking about race here. You're talking about one of Hollywood's greatest icons, and someone who's lived through 8 decades of the most transformative years in this country for race relations in the civil rights movement. Morgan Freeman knows that the moment you label him with a racial identity, you put him in a box. And the whole point of the civil rights fight was for Black America to be freed of that suffocating box.
You've spoken in the past about how you don't like the term African American.
No, I don't mind the term African American. I don't want to be called African American.
Why is that?
I'm not African.
And that's because I think he understands one thing. The people trying to use their race as a moral cudgel in one place or a victim card in another are doing as much damage to Black America as anyone else in the past. That's because in a place like Hollywood, it turns them into a racial token, a moral brownie point that studios and producers give themselves to check diversity boxes.
You said
to
brownie
me,
point.
that's just a new kind of bigotry, the bigotry of low expectations.
Black History Month you find
Ridiculous.
why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month? I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
And if it weren't for someone with the stature of Morgan Freeman, I don't think these bitter truths would go down so well on mainstream media. The only other icon who's taken the media to the cleaners for their absurd race baiting is Denzel Washington.
None of your business.
None of my business?
None of your business.
That's a cultural difference. That's not a race difference.
So click the link below to watch him humiliate these reporters to their face and subscribe to Elites Exposed for more.
Now, this is where Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, gets in trouble with some segments of my audience. I guess I should probably say some segments of my former audience. And to be frank with you, that is perfectly okay with me. You see that little thumbnail I put up there? It says, "We are not alone." What does that mean? That means that just because you white don't mean you right. It also means that just because you're not white doesn't mean you're not right. What that little thumbnail is meant to communicate to you is, from my left to right, there are black people, there are Asian people, yellow people, there are brown people, there are red people, she's an American Indian, that are just as fed up with the fear and guilt, blood magic, Judeo-Christian mind control matrix as we are. And I think it is ludicrous to say, hey, we're not going to work with anybody else that doesn't look our skin tone. And more than that, we're going to be against everybody else that doesn't have our skin tone. We are in a battle for our survival. The same battle that black, brown, red, and yellow people are in, we're in. And guess what? They came after us first. Now they're targeting the other races. And what makes more sense? What makes more sense? For all of the races that are being targeted for destruction to get together and march against the ones that are doing the targeting, or to fight amongst ourselves like a bunch of silly slaves in different slave houses, instead of putting down our arms against each other and saying, hey, the problem is up here in the big house. And if we could ever get out of our own way, optimize our own people, leave other races the hell alone to optimize their people, and once we all get optimized, we can join together, march up the hill. And our enemies are cowards, just like when I open the phone lines at the end of these clips. Nobody will call in that opposes me because they're cowards. Remember, we had the other guy the other night, Bill something or other. I'm a knight. He wouldn't even pick up the phone. Do you really think he's going to pick up a sword? No, they're cowards. We can get out of this without kinetic warfare. And if you don't like me being willing to work with black, brown, red, yellow fellows that hate the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix as much as I do, then, well, yeah, it's just the way it is. And by the way, I'd rather work with an honorable black, brown, red, yellow person than a white person that has turned their back on their gods, their goddesses, their ancestors, and has bowed the knee to a foreign god. I'm just saying, I say it every single deep program, and I'm not going to stop because we're winning. Let's march up that hill and take on those that call themselves Big Daddy. I'm with you, Matthew, my flat earth friend. He's the one. Maybe Dave Weiss, maybe two. I appreciate you, Matthew, for being here.
community say that they are fed up with what they consider out-of-control pool parties. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren talks to the neighbors, and he has the homeowner's perspective as well from Catonsville tonight.
We can't get to our homes.
Black
Rude behavior.
homeowner.
People, we have literally caught people on camera. We all have surveillance using the bathroom on people's private properties. They jump up on top of car. We have photographs of that.
Some residents.
Yo, we taking over the summer. For the 99 and the 2000. Girl, you working with some magic. Magic.
You get the point. There's a lot of good people that are black, a lot of good people that are brown, a lot of good people that are red, a lot of good people that are yellow. And they're just as tired of that Jesus fellow as we are. And I think we should work with them instead of against them. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And you'll be at home. And it'll be 10 o'clock at night.
And they won't care
And
what
you're gonna
color
just
you
sit
are.
there and you're going to be like, is tonight the night that they're going to come for me? Is tonight the night they're going to smash in my door and there's going to be a bunch of local cops with an arrest warrant for me for murder, rape, assault? Is tonight the night that's going to happen? And that's what every single one of your nights is going to be, day after day after day after day after day after day, until the night that it happens. And the night that it happens, you're not going to have your plate carrier. You're not going to have your camo outfit. You're not going to have your Kevlar gloves. You're not going to have your tactical helmet and your Oakleys. And you're not going to have your mask. And there will be a news crews there with cameras and spotlights. And then you're going to be in custody. And Trump won't be able to save you. You think Stephen Miller's going to start a GoFundMe for your bail? He'll be under indictment too, just like you. At that moment, when they first pick you up and put you in a cell, you are going to realize how alone you are, because nobody from Trump world is coming for you. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to set up a GoFundMe. Nobody's going to be donating money to take care of your family, because there's going to be too many of you all across the country. And Trump won't be able to save you. He'll be at Mar-a-Lago with the $7 or $8 billion that he scammed out of his crypto investors during his 4 years in office.
So here's the takeaway on this one. If we don't wise up, bad times may be coming. Bad times may be coming. There are things worse than death. Don't be taken alive. That's my advice to you. Let's work together and make sure this doesn't happen to us, because if it can happen to anyone, it can happen to one of us, it can happen to any of us. And we're on the top of the list if these Christian nationalists ever get their wishes.
He said, aliens are real, they're here, and I've seen them. Just like that. Just like, here, I'll throw you a bone, kid. And I said, well, are they alive? And he paused and he said, I can't say. I said, you can't say or you won't say? And he said, I can't say. Okay, well, hold on a second. If what you're saying is true, how does everyone not know about it? And he said, oh, lots of people know about it. You could walk into any bookstore and you're going to find all sorts of books on the shelves with lots of truth. But right next to them are the books that we publish, full of propaganda. It's a multi-billion-dollar campaign to cover up the truth. And I was like, why does the truth have to be covered up? And he said, look, we live in a God-fearing country. There's only one thing that keeps this world spinning, gives everybody the control they need. That's the global economy. If you disrupt that.
Here's where I have to take issue with this guy. He says it's the global economy that keeps everything running. Well, the global economy is supported by people. And we know that the wealth in this country is disproportionately vested in a certain group of people. And there's this other much, much larger group of people that maniacally serve that people. So whose fault is it really? It's like most people that listen to me have come to the conclusion that the government is the problem. But did you know, if you look at the House of Representatives and the Senate, 97% of those people, actually 98 if you include the Islamic people that have been elected, 98%, over 98% of the American government is made up of Judeo-Christians, about 90% Christian, about 8% Jewish, and a little over 1% Islamic. Oh, they're not real Jewish people. They're not real Christian people. They're not real Islamic people. Really? Really? Is that your excuse? If you know government's the problem, and you know over 98% of it is Abrahamic, then maybe you can do that math. Or maybe not. I'm just the mailman. I bring you the mail. I'm not going to hang around to see if you want to read it. I'm going to deliver it to somebody else that might.
The great deceit of our lifetimes is that the institutions that we think are preserving knowledge are actually hiding information. That's a big difference. And the two that probably are the most complicit in hiding truth from people are the Vatican and the Smithsonian Institute. But the Smithsonian Institute forever has run to the first mention of a giant and then created a cover story, whisk up any bones or any artifacts, and they do two things with them. They hide them in the Smithsonian Institute, or else they make it a national park to where nobody could ever dig there again. But like the Ohio mounds, the Indians, well, let me say it this way. The Smithsonian says these big mounds have lots of little Indians buried under them. You ask the Indian, they say, we don't bury people like that. These are burial places for the giants, and we all know that. And there's one giant body under each mound, and we have never, ever buried our dead like that. Again, it's a cover story, and, just baffle them with BS and tell them that it's an Indian burial ground, and any digging or snooping around is forbidden,
all right. I think Indians even say that these were here before we got here.
The great deceit of our...
That's definitely one of the great deceits. I would put the greatest deceit under another category. They also threw them in the Great Lakes. Her Majesty weighs in, and she's absolutely right. Jay Mars is right. They're hiding information so they can deceive us with it. Deceive us with it. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it very much.
So today I'm excited to announce a new company called Shepherd Safety.
I love this.
Our mission is simple. Keep government officials and their families safe. We're launching satellites to watch over Casa Grande day and night. Our AI will monitor where government officials go, where they stop, who they meet with, and when they return home. We've already started collecting and building profiles on your vehicles, spouses' vehicles, children's vehicles, and other visual characteristics. We'll combine that information with publicly available data, Bluetooth signals, advertising IDs, vehicle information, commercial data sources, so our authorized users can replay the movements of every government official and their immediate family. There's no difference than the current flock safety capture systems. Everything will be stored securely and only authorized users will have access. Local businesses will be invited to join our network so government officials can continue being protected while shopping, eating, or traveling throughout the city. Some of you might think this sounds invasive, and you may worry about abuse, you may worry about unauthorized access, tracking innocent people. We understand those concerns. After all, those are the exact same concerns of all the citizens. What, 864 now? Something like that? But we've been told not to worry because if you're doing nothing wrong, you got nothing to hide. It's okay. You have no expectation of privacy in public. So if we track all your movement, put it up online, it's okay. Only authorized users will have access, we made that clear. And we're only going to store the data for 30 days, which is the footage. So it's no different from Flock. No problem. Privacy doesn't stop being important because someone says the word safety, okay? We shouldn't accept this level of surveillance, our elected officials and their families, and we shouldn't accept it for ourselves. Now this is satire. I would never do this to you. Could I? Probably. But I wouldn't. Because it's wrong. Just like what you guys are doing to us is wrong. I'm innocent. I don't do anything wrong. You're tracking and uploading my information, my movements every day without my permission. And I don't appreciate it. And I'd like you to stop. I'd like you to do something about it. I'd like you to put it behind a warrant, just like my phone records. That's what I'm asking you guys to do. Thanks.
Wow, if that mic wasn't attached to that podium, he should pick it up and drop it because that's a mic drop. It's disgusting that they monitor you when you come in and out of your home. It's disgusting they probably monitor you in your home. Wait a minute, you don't think that if they can see you in your car and whether or not you're holding your cell phone, that they can't peek through your window and see you inside your home? That's disgusting. It's disgusting that they would ID tag and track your vehicles, that they would ID tag and track your children, that they would ID tag and track your spouses, that they would scrape your data. That's a terrible, disgusting thing. But you know what's even more disgusting? And this will be a revelation to some of you. If you go to a church today that has more than about 150 people in it, guess what? All the big churches are also running Chinese level, Palantir level, flock camera level surveillance too. You walk into church and they are using facial recognition. They are tagging you. They will be tracking you. They are data scraping your social media, and they're doing it in church. Maybe Jesus really does see you when you're sleeping. Maybe he really does know when you're awake. Maybe he does know who's been bad or good, and you should be good for goodness sake. Maybe Jesus really is making a list. Maybe Jesus really is checking it twice. Maybe Jesus really is trying to find out who's naughty and nice. You get all upset about it on the street. You get all upset about it in your work. You get all upset about it in public, but you're silent when it comes into your churches. What is wrong with you? And I'm the bad guy for telling you about it.
Spend your entire life believing that abracadabra is just a cheap magic trick for children. But what if I told you it is actually one of the oldest, most distorted manifestation technologies in human history? The system taught you to see it as a stage joke, but it is the hidden code of reality itself. In ancient Aramaic, the original phrase is abracadabra. Its literal translation isn't magic. It means I create as I speak. Your words are not just sounds coming out of your mouth. They are mathematical, geometric frequencies shaping the resonance field around you. Your ancestors knew this. It's no coincidence that the act of writing words is called spelling, literally casting a spell. Time you repeat, I am weak, I don't have money, or this is too hard, you're programming the software of your matrix with the wrong code. You are using the technology against yourself, trapped in an unconscious hypnotic trance. To hack this system, you have to change the command. The collapse of the wave function, the physical manifestation, happens only when your spoken word aligns perfectly with the geometric frequency of your intention. Sound and geometry are the primary keys. The deep knowledge of the hidden frequencies governing our reality has been fragmented. Until now, If you are ready to wake up and access the true codes of reality, comment code below or click the link in my bio to enter our portal. The transmission has begun.
Let me give you a little bit of free advice. Tony Robbins, you don't have to believe everything Tony Robbins says to get this. Tony Robbins said that the quality of your life is determined by the questions you ask yourself. So instead of asking yourself, how come I'm always broke? Try asking yourself, how can I generate more income? Instead of asking yourself, why am I fat? Try asking yourself, how can I get to my ideal body weight? Instead of asking yourself, how come all I attract are losers? Start asking yourself, how can I attract my perfect mate? Because the quality of your questions that you ask yourself do determine the quality of your life. That's free from me to you, from the Christian whistleblower, House M. Div, Master of Divinity, to you, free of charge.
Everything outside that line looks dangerous, and she drew the line herself. This is the magic circle. Waterhouse painted it in 1886. She is barefoot on open ground. No walls, no shelter, no guards. Just that line in the earth. The ravens stay outside it. The fire glows beside them, but they do not cross. Even the pair on the right stays beyond the line. The skulls stay outside too. Even the toad holds its place.
You get the point. You don't have to live in fear. You can live in power because you're a powerful person. And I'm a little bit upset that he came down on toads because I got a new friend. He hangs out there by the coal plunge. His name is Ralph. It could be Ruby, but I checked with the rods and muscle testing. It's Ralph. He's a little, Cynthia tells me the different sizes, but I think he's kind of a juvenile little frog, little toad. He's gray. And he's my buddy. We talk. And then when Barkley comes around, Ralph isn't smart. He runs away. But anyway, let's move on. So toads aren't all bad.
No, hell, let's check out the mystery of the Black Eye Club. Have you guys heard of this? Y'all like the video and check this out.
What is the meaning behind all these strange bruises under the eyes of billionaires and politicians and celebrities? And why is this something the public isn't supposed to know? 2012.
Let's
Robert
get into
Downey
it.
Jr. There was no official explanation for his bruise. That same year, he received an unprecedented $50 million salary for his role in the Avengers. For comparison, he was only paid $500,000 for his previous role as Iron Man. Elon Musk, a bruise appeared in May 2025. The official excuse, he was just playing with his kids. At the time, Tesla and SpaceX were struggling. Suddenly, that same year, he received a massive $1 trillion transfer. George W. Bush, January 2002. The official story, he fell off a couch. A year after the invasion of Iraq, the Bush family began pulling in massive profits from oil companies.
Wow. In the words of the immortal American philosopher George Carlin, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Well, maybe if you're Judeo-Christian, you might be in it, but the rest of us, we're not in it. But we are in it to win it, baby.
I mean, take a look at some of these giant doors. I mean, how does it even make sense? Obviously, people had to be massive back then. You're not just going to build a friggin' 40-foot door. Look at that one. Oh my God. Let me know what you think in the comments. Y'all like the video?
There's no giants. There's never been giants. That's ridiculous. Who would believe such a thing?
Well, let's check out the great 1893 deception. Y'all like the video and check this out.
The 1st of May, 1893, Chicago, Illinois. The gates officially opened to a sprawling, impossible empire of neoclassical stone.
In the late 19th century, a phenomenon swept across America that defies all logical explanation. Over 27 million people traveled to this exact location within 6 months. They came to witness the world's fairs, massive empires of impossible architecture that appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Textbooks claim these magnificent structures were built in a matter of months, specifically for this 1,893 event, using nothing but horse-drawn carts, plaster, and hemp.
There's no way
Newly
people believe
unclassified
that.
documents suggest a massive deception. The official blueprints weren't drawn to build the fair. They were drawn to map out what they had just dug up. Look at the scale. These weren't temporary pavilions.
Excuse me, what?
They were megalithic stone monuments. Domes that rivaled the Vatican. Intricate columns the size of redwood trees. All supposedly constructed by men who didn't even have power tools.
Yeah, they're not hiding anything. There's no history that they're occulting from us, and occulting just means hiding. I like to use some of these words that they're buzzwords and give you the real meaning so you're not so afraid of them anymore. Everything I do is occult. I am the de-occulter. I'm trying to bring you the true knowledge. So let's continue to roll on, baby. Let's continue to You know, Keanu Reeves brings up an interesting point here. Cynthia and I like to watch movies. We do it. I do it. She probably does it just to disconnect, although she's really smart. I do it to look for disclosure, and that's how we came to this Stargate Decoded tonight. But Reeves asked a question that I often ask. How do these, supernatural, full of disclosure, you can see the poster back there. Stargate, full of disclosure. Are they trying to leak out slowly kosher disclosure because we know who produces all the media? Are they trying to slow leak kosher disclosure? Yes, probably, partially, but I'm a writer. And by the way, if I seem a little distracted tonight, I'm 230 pages into my new book, which is Assault on Camelot. Assault on Aquarius is available right now. Email me or put in the chat if you want information on that. But I'm, 324 pages into Assault on Camelot. And ideas are ether. They're in the ether. And I'm sure that kosher disclosure is part of it. But writers, creators will also grab ideas out of the ether. Maybe they're not supposed to, but that's how a lot of them come on. That's how a lot of them come about. Just thought I'd throw that in for you.
Hey, what's up, America? Target in Minnesota converts a fitting room into a Muslim prayer space and bans shoppers from using it. So a Target in Apple Valley, Minnesota has changed the fitting room into a Muslim prayer room at the store, plus a sign that states, quote, "This room is being used for prayer. Please do not enter."
Now, nobody likes that. Nobody thinks that's a good idea. But a lot of Christians get all upset about Sharia law, but they want to make it a Christian nation. A lot of Christians get all upset about Noahide laws, even though they're all in 10 Commandments, but they want to make it a Christian nation. And I can guarantee you that if Target put in Christian prayer rooms, they'd be praising the Lord for that. All we want is a land free of people trying to tell us who to worship, how to worship, and where to worship. And you don't need to go to Target and worship. I know they pray like 3 times a day, and I know the Bible says you should pray without ceasing, but come on. You don't got to be talking in tongues up and down the aisles at Target. You look crazy. Maybe because you are, says the former tongue-talking preacher. And I could still do it right now if I wanted to. But anyway, there's a show in that. There's a deprogram in that. But come on, guys. How about some consistency? I know that's a lot to ask from Christians, but I'd like to see you try it at least every now and then. Little consistency. So, here we are. We are up to the deprogram. And tonight, we're looking at Stargate Decoded. And I already told you the other night that Melanie put something in the chat, ticked me off. I was in a weak moment. I reacted. I took offense instead of taking inventory. But I think it's 5 times 3, 5, whatever. 3, it's still less than pray without ceasing. But anyway, thank you, Her Majesty. But you made me lose my train of thought, but that's okay. But anyway, we're going to talk about Stargate Decoded tonight. This is going to be powerful. You might want to grab a pen and a paper. You might want to go back and watch this movie. And by the way, I know a lot of you hate Chat GPT, you hate AI overall, but I'm sitting here to myself saying, how am I going to, it's a 2-hour and a little bit more movie. How am I going to go through this whole thing? So I go to Chat GPT, I use it a lot, and I said, please give me a breakdown of every scene in the Stargate movie. And boom, she pops up in about 30 seconds, a breakdown of every single scene in the Stargate movie. And by the way, talking about Stargate Decoded, talking about Stargate as either kosher disclosure or writers grabbing ideas out of the ether, you want to guess how many scenes there are in the Stargate movie? 33 scenes in the Stargate movie. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. But Melanie said some things, and instead of taking offense, even though I did initially, I started taking inventory, and she had some good points. And she's got a maddening way sometimes of presenting herself. And I'd tell her that to her face, even though I never met her. But when you don't take offense, you take inventory, you can learn some things. So anyway, I said, let's open the phone lines all the time, the entire show. So I am going to open the phone lines. They're open right now. But I'm going to ask you to go ahead, and if you want to call in, just put your question or a brief synopsis of your comment in all capitals in the chat. It'll catch my eye if I get back on the chat. I'll look at it, and then I will post the phone number, and you can call in. So it's open lines all the time up in here from now on. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, and you can be polite, you can be interesting, you can align with platform requirements, just put your question, your comment in. I'll evaluate it. I'll be my own screener. I'd love to have a staff, a screener. That'd be freaking awesome. And then I'll post the phone number. We'll bring you in. And of course, at the end of the deprogram, as we always do, we'll open up the phone lines to anyone and everyone. So with that, let's get into Stargate Decoded. Are you ready for this? Now, I know Stargate's a little bit of an old show, a little bit of an old film, and many of you may not be that familiar with it, but the basic plot of Stargate is this kind of weird guy played by James Spader, the young, Cynthia says attractive James Spader, cute, I think was the word she used. He's an unconventional Egyptologist, right? He's an unconventional Egyptologist. Claudette says, my comments are shut off on videos. I didn't shut them off. I might have to go in, and I see them, so they can't be shut off. Maybe they're just shut off for you, Claudette, because I can actually see the comments coming through YouTube. So you might want to check on your end. But anyway, he believes that Egyptian civilization is much older and much stranger than accepted history allows for. And he's been recognized and he gets recruited by the United States military, the Air Force specifically, to examine this massive circular artifact that they discovered back in 1928. And we do have Rod questions, and I will stop the deprogram for this one because Matthew actually followed the protocols that I asked him to follow. And I'm not going to name the person, but it's in the chat. So is this person an agent of deception? The rods say yes. How do I know that's yes? Is Jeff wearing a pink jacket tonight? No, he's not. Although it's not out of the realm of possibility. I just don't happen to have one. Is Jeff wearing a blue jacket tonight? Yes, it is. So that guy, in answer to your question, Matthew Garvin, the rods say that yes. The rods say that yes. So anyway, he deciphers this artifact that they found back on the Giza Plateau in 1928. And he realizes that the artifact actually represents constellations, maps of constellations. And then the military activates the device. They create a wormhole that goes to a distant planet. And then Kurt Russell plays this United States Air Force colonel. He does a really good job. And they lead a reconnaissance team through the Stargate. The weird Egyptologist goes with them. And on the other side of the Stargate, they go through a wormhole and they find this desert world called Abydos, which is a lot like Abaddon, which I found interesting. It's populated by humans. So now we get to disclosure about human trafficking to other worlds. But we know, sorry, Matthew, that the flat earthers tell us that space is fake and Jose. It rhymes with Jose. I don't know if I can say it on some of these platforms. Space is fake and Jose. And since Matthew Garvin's the only flat earther I know that's not in alignment with the Abrahamic matrix, I got to wonder, is flat earth being co-opted by the Abrahamic matrix to shut down disclosure over the greatest truths that will be presented to humanity? Because if you think space is fake and Jose, you won't understand the things that are most important for understanding who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. So he finds this human population, and again, that speaks to our humans being transported off-world. And then he finds a duplicate of the Great Pyramid of Giza. They find a society that is forbidden to read and write. Guess what? Up until the invention of the printing press, Christians were forbidden to read the Bible, and most of them were illiterate. And these people are dominated by this God that passes himself off as Ra. And then the big revelation, yes, J. Bing, the big revelation in the movie is that Ra is not really a god. He's sort of a godling. And I take that back to the Abrahamic matrix, and it's my studied conclusion after 25 years as a Christian minister, preaching on 5 continents, 40 states, after having a Bible college degree, after having at least 200,000 hours in the study of the Greek in Hebrew scriptures. And I am 63 years old. I've been doing it since I was 17. So do the math. The maths. Yahweh is not a real God. He's a godling. Ra in the movie turns out to be an alien being who once found Earth and took possession of a human body to prolong his life. Wow, that sounds a whole lot like the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt mind control matrix to me. And Ra uses advanced technology to try to convince people that he's a god. He's a god. He brought the Stargate to Earth, enslaved humanity, and transported human laborers to other worlds to mine his valuable materials. I know that the Anunnaki lore tells us they wanted us to mine gold. Maybe we're the gold. But when I think of Ra bringing the Stargate, I think of Yahweh bringing the Ark of the Covenant. And the people of Earth in the movie, and this does contain spoilers, obviously, so I want to put that out there. But the people of Earth revolt. Back then, they revolted in the history, in the past. They buried the Stargate, but the people he'd already taken off world remained under his control. Thus, monotheistic religion is portrayed as a distorted cultural memory of extraterrestrial occupation. And I think that's what we're suffering from today under the fear and guilt Judeo-Christian mind control matrix. And I hope Rabbi Laitman's video comes up. If not, I'll pull it. And Dagger makes a great statement here. The Christian prayer is all in with Amen or Amen. That's Ra's first name. Boom, Dagger. I missed that one in my 10, 12 hours of study on this. Supergalactic with a question. Thank you, Supergalactic, for following the instructions. Supergalactic asks, is the firmament the same as the black cube? We get a really slow half, no, and kind of a half yes. In all my years of working with the rods, and I'm mailing out the rods to you tomorrow. I can't remember who got them, but they're going out to you tomorrow. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Where was I going with that? The firmament isn't what we've been told. It does have to do with the black cube, but it's not necessarily the black cube. Thank you, Supergalactic, for that great question. So it is my assertion that all monotheistic religion, and remember, until Judaism came to Earth, Rabbi Laitman tells us they came from another galaxy, another dimension. They came to Earth as invaders. And until they got here, there was no monotheistic religion. That means worshiping one God for you Christians that are here and have a little trouble with thinking. I get it. I mean, you've taken thought captive, every single one of them, to Jesus. You don't have your mind anymore. You have the mind of Christ. You're not alive anymore. Christ lives in you. And by the way, the Stargate SG-1 TV series, not covered here, but Cynthia and I watched the first episode, and they actually have a parasite that lives in them. If you ask Jesus to come live in your heart, and he brings his daddy with him too, isn't that a parasite? Isn't that a parasite? So it's my assertion that all monotheistic religions are just a distorted cultural memory of extraterrestrial occupation. And Rabbi Laitman backs me up on that. Cynthia said that she doesn't care about the flat earth question. And I don't really either, because we've both said this. And I think she said it first. It's brilliant. I'm not going to worry about the shape of the earth until we can fix the shape the earth is in. That's freaking brilliant. She thinks it's a simulation, that we manifest ourselves. I kind of agree with it, but not totally. I believe, and I think I've proven conclusively, that the earth is divine, it's real, it's beautiful, but there has been a simulation overlaid on this. And who said this? Jay Bing says, he sure is a parasite, no doubt about it. Her Majesty mentions the Borg. Absolutely. Think about the Borg in terms of Christianity. What do the Borg say? I'm a big Star Trek fan. I like the real Star Trek, which is the original series. But Next Generation had some pretty good episodes too, and the Borg were brilliant. And the Borg say, we will assimilate you into our collective. We will take your distinctiveness and merge it with our own. Woo! Somebody should have got a woo. Sorry, Ark. There it goes. And that's exactly what Galatians 3:28 says. Galatians 3:28 says, there's no longer any race. We've been assimilated into the Christian Borg matrix. There's no longer any sex, no male or female. We've been assimilated into the Judeo-Christian matrix because those distinctivenesses are gone. They're gone. Straight Raw in from Rumble. Great to see you. Straight Raw. It says that all those distinctiveness are gone and we're now one in Christ Jesus. That's assimilation, folks. I know it makes you uncomfy. I know it hurts your feels. And, the phone lines are open. If you can follow the instructions. Only Jim doesn't have to follow the instructions. He can just call in whenever he wants to. Whenever he wants to. Whenever he wants to. And Karen makes a great point. I don't like to get stuck on flat Earth. But she says, until the average person can get to space, the shape of the Earth will remain up in the air. Absolutely true. Karen, I am going to go to space at some point. I'm expecting any time to get a ride. And I'll let you know. I'll take my phone. I'll take a picture, okay? And then we'll know. Thank you, Straight Bra. I appreciate you, and I salute you for being here seeking after truth, my brother. So, the big themes of Stargate, technology can be mistaken for divinity. I also have a minor degree in, I always say archaeology, but it's not archaeology, it's geography. And one of the axioms, the principles of impartial, objective, empirical science is that any technology advanced enough looks just like magic. Ark, we can take a ride together. It looks just like magic. And when a being like Yahweh invades Earth, or a being like Ra invades Earth in the movie, they have and possess technology that is so far advanced. And you notice they came 1,000 years ago and not today. But today, any aliens that come are demons. Back then, they were deliverers in the Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix. But any sufficiently advanced technology appears supernatural to an ancient population. And these beings leverage this to appear supernatural. They control us through our ignorance of the fact that they're just advanced beings, in Rabbi Laitman's word, from another planet, another galaxy, another dimension. And the reason why monotheistic gods forbid writing and forbid reading is because literacy allows people. Before I showed up on YouTube and Rumble and X and TikTok, it allows them to rediscover their history. And it allows them to recognize that these beings are not gods. I don't want to use the names because I don't want to give free publicity, but Straight Raw says, have you ever listened to said dude? I listened to said dude, and I listened to him defame one of our great heroes of the past and call him, question him, and make libelous accusations. So I did what I always do. I wrote him a very polite, thoughtful letter. At least the first one was polite and thoughtful. And I said, hey, how can you say this? Come on my deprogram, we'll talk about it. And this coward, this poser, this despicable individual said to me, "Oh, I can't debate. My blood pressure can't handle no debates." I said, "What? We'll be polite. We'll be nice." But he bailed like the baby that he is. So that's my answer for him. It looks like Jim is exercising his Jim privilege. So give me a second. Give me a second. Hold on, Jim. Got to find the right screen. I got a lot in front of me. Hey, Jim, hold on one second while I share the screen, okay? I'm glad you called. I have shared the screen. Lay it on us, my friend. Lay it on us. Come wall to wall, treetop tall.
Well, thank you. I was going to say, a lot of times I hear people read and talk about books, and I hear sometimes you'll talk about books. And sometimes I say things that don't quite go with what is being read. But something you said that means a point is ether speaks to me, ether. Like I close my eyes and listen, then all of a sudden these pictures and shows start coming into my face. And that's why I say it. Whether they're true or not, I really don't know. But I was going to say, talking about the gates. Now, this is just an idea of mine. I mean, I could totally be wrong. But
Jim, you have the right to be wrong.
Okay, thank you. Look at the planets. They're all round. Our Earth, I do not believe anything that science says about this Earth, how it works, or nothing. I don't believe none of it. I can't say I blame all the flatness, but I believe there is something different than what we're trying to be taught.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
So I know I don't agree with anything that the government says about this planet and how it works. Well, we spend 1,040 miles an hour around. I don't believe none of it. So now I'm going to go to the planets being round and the moon being round. I think that they are the wheel that we're speaking about. I'm sorry, my brain just shut down. The gates.
The Stargate, you mean?
The Stargates. I believe the planets are the gates. The different dimensions can go through different planets to get to us.
I agree.
So I know it might sound a little wild, but I just always saw them as a gate, because you don't see life on them. You don't know about life on them, and possibly life on them. But I do believe that there is a purpose for them to be there to open up to other place, other. I'm sorry, my brain's shutting out
Like
again.
other areas of discovery, deeper understandings, other dimensions, other
and the information,
other information, absolutely.
And all the informations that we get from the gods and stuff could be coming from those different planets. That's why we put the planets. It means this. It means that. It's because that dimension is speaking through that planet from another dimension that they travel through. So that's about all I have to say on it, brother.
Jim, I agree with you 100%. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so hard on flat earthers. If flat earthers were just a bunch of unsophisticants, I wouldn't waste any time on them. But the flat earth people, the people that are in flat earth, they came into flat earth because they were willing to question the most basic assumptions that they're taught. And they get into flat earth, and then all of a sudden, 99% of them, except for Matthew, become Christians, and they will not then study or consider anything outside of Christianity. That's why I have a problem with it. And I'm convinced, just like Jim was saying, that space is not fake and Jose. Space is the place where we're going to get most of the great answers And seeing that 99.9% of flat earthers have been assimilated into the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, Borg mind control matrix, like Her Majesty said, I see a connection. Maybe I'm wrong, but I see a connection. And manufactured religion, fake gods, always create sacred symbols that can't be questioned. They always create rituals that can't be violated and must be practiced, like Jesus saying in John chapter 6, we did this on the cold plunge not too long ago. Jesus said, and this is just right down the road from John 3:16, so I think some of you might have read it. He said, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you've got no life in you. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will not be raised up at the last day. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you won't be raised up at the last day. You've got no life in you. My Christian friends, how can you say that eating flesh and drinking blood, which is what you Catholics do every day, Protestants don't do it as often, and they say it's only symbolic. Somehow it's okay to symbolically eat flesh. Somehow it's okay to symbolically eat blood. I just say no, thank you. But Christians, I'd love to have one of you explain that to me. And at least the Catholics are honest enough to say, yeah, we believe in transubstantiation. We think the Jesus cookie really becomes the body. We think the wine really becomes the blood. Christians, they're not quite comfortable enough with themselves to say, yeah, we believe that. They just say, it's symbolic, as if that excuses it. And Matthew the Flat Earther says, once you think you have it all figured out, you shut yourself off to adapting new information. That's my big problem with the Flat Earth movement. So these symbols, these rituals, these mythologies, they frame political denomination and they frame political domination into divine authority. That's why the worst thing that could ever happen is for the United States of America to become a theocracy. I don't want an Islamic dictatorship. I don't want a Jewish dictatorship. I don't want a Christian dictatorship. I want people, and I want to live in a land where everybody can believe whatever they want to believe, be left alone to do it, and you don't take your spirituality to Target, and you don't have to kneel in the middle of a busy street when there's a sidewalk. Christian theocracy is no better than Islamic theocracy or Jewish theocracy, in my view. We never had such an idea until Rabbi Laitman's folks came here from the stars. So when we try to rebel against false gods, our knowledge and our military acumen, which is one of the reasons why I'm watching Dead Wolf Resistance 13, learning how to do the historic European martial arts, which is mainly swords and blades, because one day when our knowledge catches up to us and we find out who we are, we need to have the self-defense acumen to combine with our courage to be able to break these fake, phony God spells. And Matthew says he got this gem from me. If you're able to hold two competing theories and ideas in your mind, you're better off. I actually got that from Magenta Pixie of all places. So yeah, that's really, really excellent stuff. So in the climax of Stargate, the people revolt because they realize that Ra and his people are not gods. The gods are not, their guards are not gods. And they recognize that these people are not immortal and they're not divine. And the big secret that Christian nationalism, Christian identity, and Christianity as a whole are occulting, hiding, is Genesis chapter 6. And in Genesis chapter 6, my ancestors, the Tua, came here to earth in response to the invasion by Rabbi Laitman's ancestors to tell people they're not gods. And some of us realize that We couldn't do it all ourselves, don't want to do it all ourselves. So we intermarried with the women of the original human population on Earth. And of course, we picked the hot ones first. Why wouldn't we? And we did that in order to seed in them the message of divinity, the message of sovereignty, and the message of freedom. And the takeaway from the Stargate film is that all of these godlings, whether they're named Ra, whether they're named Yahweh, whether it's the Jesus, egregore, shadow man, they can all be destroyed by human cooperation and action. That's why I get so frustrated with the people that say, I only want to work with the white people, I only want to work with the black people, I only want to work with the brown, I only want to work with the yellows, I only want to work with the brown. Who did I forget? You know what I mean. Why wouldn't you want as many people as possible working with you? If I'm going into a fight, I'd rather have 2, 10, 20, 50 than just me. And even the Bible discloses to us, I don't remember the exact numbers, but 10 can chase 1,000, 100 can chase 10,000. So there is some strength in numbers. We're not seeking numbers. We don't want everybody. We just want the ones that we're supposed to have. Carmen with a great question. I can't believe I didn't think of this one. You know, there's some vegan Christians out there. Do vegan Christians take communion? Do vegan Christians take the Eucharist? Are these vegan Christians eating blood, eating flesh, and drinking blood? Thank you, Cynthia, for calling my mind to that. Wow. And probably the most powerful idea in the entire Stargate film is that a godling's rule, a false god's rule, depends less upon weapons than upon controlling humanity's understanding of its own history. That's why the old saying is, if you fail to learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. But a great guy that we can't talk about on most of these platforms took that a step further. He said, history is not just remembering dates and places and names. Really, the true fleshing out of this idea of those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it is that if you fail to learn the patterns, if you fail to be able to recognize the patterns of history, then you'll be doomed to repeat them. And we're waking up now and understanding this pattern that's being repeated, because our enemies, not only are they cowards, but they're not terribly creative either. So it's not weapons. Even the Bible says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We're not talking about hot lead and swords and stuff. Ooh, Rapid Dog. I'd love to read that, but I can't. That's funny. I'm going to do it anyway. He says that vegan Christians, they do take communion in the Eucharist, but they don't swallow it. So there you go. That's a funny one right there. Thank you, Kylie. And please do like and share. Help us break through this algorithm. But once people discover their own history, that we were divine, sovereign, and free, all of us, red, yellow, black, brown, and white, we were all divine, sovereign, and free. We all lived in our own lands. We didn't live together much, and I think that's a great idea because we optimized our own selves. We had social and cultural interaction at regular intervals. You know, we had some fairs and some cookouts and some things like that, because I do enjoy cultural exchange. But once we recover our history, we realize that the gods, whether it be Yahweh or Ra or Jesus or the Father, they're just frightened, cowardly tyrants, just like their worshipers are, because they'll never call me. They're just hiding behind the God's technology and the people, what they've been told and what they've been sold when they got assimilated into the Matrix. Hello, Melanie. Try to behave. So the opening scene of the movie is the first major act of psychological reframing. When they discover the Stargate beneath Giza, all of a sudden in swoops the government, and instead of allowing this great discovery to transform humanity's understanding of its history, it disappears down a classified black hole. The discovery isn't destroyed because they're trying to use it for a weapon. It just gets compartmentalized. And only a tiny little group at the top actually understands the truth, while ordinary humanity lives inside this obsolete mind frame of the ruling powers creation. And if we use Stargate as kind of an example of what's going on today, all history, and I say this as having a minor in geography, all history is filtered through Jesuit and Judeo-Christian filters. It doesn't matter if it's Anunnaki history, Sumerian history, Egyptian history, Bible history, American history. It's all filtered through these two filters. There were two guys that created the historical model that's used today. One was Jesuit, one was a Christian. So everything you get about history has been filtered through those two filters. They control the archaeological record. We heard him talking about giants aren't real. We hear him talking about there's no resets and there's never been anything bad that's happened. So the most effective deception isn't hiding every weird thing. It's controlling how these things are disclosed to the public. So any artifact that tends to prove or suggest that what we've been taught may not be real, well, what that's done is classified. And the military sees that they can use it against us. It's removed from its archaeological context. It's stored somewhere in a dusty collection, whether it's the Smithsonian or the Pentagon or the Vatican. And sometimes they'll roll it out as ceremonial, as symbolic. And if it doesn't align with what they believe, they'll roll it out as demonic. Or sometimes they just dismiss it as a hoax. And we never get the crucial information to make up our own minds. And that's why I do what I do. And in the film, everyone can see the cover stones or the cover story, but they're denied the information in the context to connect to them. And the security is protected by ridicule and by this is the way you have to believe, orthodoxy. They separate knowledge into compartments. Only these people get to know this. Only these people get to know that. I held a top secret clearance in the U.S. Air Force. I know what I'm talking about. And then they use ridicule to contain truth. That's why I got deplatformed for 5 years. And I want to thank the 50,000 people that are still here after I was deplatformed for 5 years. It's only about half of what we had, but I salute you folks for being tenacious. And just like in Christianity today, from the Christian that wants to drive by, evangelize in my chat, and even though they're a warrior, they can't seem to pick up a phone. So I'm not real worried about, here's my another classic line, never fear the knight that won't pick up a phone because he's damn sure not going to pick up a sword. So the evidence is never answered. It's just made socially untouchable or it's ridiculed. This is a very elegant psychological control mechanism. Our enemies are not stupid. They establish a boundary around acceptable inquiry. When you're at church, you can't go up and ask the preacher, how come the Bible has contradictions? You can't go up and ask the priest, how come Jesus said we got to eat his flesh and drink his blood? You can't ask them, how come the fourth word in the Bible says there's multiple gods and you're telling us that there's only one God? And anyone who crosses the boundary becomes a bad person. Bad person. And you get ridiculed because you want to examine evidence. And then genuine disclosure gets deliberately mixed with absurd claims, and that contaminates even the credible evidence with guilt by association. So we're given a managed version of disclosure. It's called controlled disclosure, because in the age of the internet, they can't completely remove things anymore. So now, even though their forefathers that came here were aliens and they were good guys, now any other people that come to help us are demons automatically. Then they place these ideas into films and television. Now, sometimes it's kosher disclosure, sometimes it's controlled disclosure, and sometimes it's just people like me, other writers, grabbing it out of the ether and presenting it in a movie. So Stargate can be interpreted, the film, sort of like a form of religious mythic disclosure. Humanity's shown the possibility that its gods are just technologically advanced beings, but it's dismissed as entertainment and all aliens are demons. And it's also used as kosher disclosure. Some filmmakers do possess secret knowledge, and they're selectively parsing it out bit by bit by bit to psychologically prepare people for concepts that would otherwise destabilize their agendas. So if the Tua come back, or somebody else comes back to help free us, they're not going to come back to save us, but they can come back to help us fight our way. And I don't even think there'd be a fight out of this Abrahamic suppression. And you can't have that. So let's just say any being that comes, except for our beings that came, are demons. And as Carmen says, asking questions at Bible study gets you kicked out of Bible study every damn time. They give you the right hand of fellowship as long as you're able to go along, but they'll give you the left foot of fellowship if you start making any trouble, as they defined it. So every dominant Abrahamic matrix constructs religions around occupying power. Why do you think the Jewish religion is based on taking over the whole world? Why do you think the Christian religion is based on taking over the whole world? Why do you think there's holy wars and crusades? Why do you think the Old Testament is filled with genocide and ethnic cleansing? Why do you think Christianity from day one has been about genocide and ethnic cleansing? Do you not understand that Christianity grew not because it was peaceful and loving and offered a better way? Christianity grew because the priests marched out with the Catholic Roman Empire, with a centurion with them with the Roman short sword, which was the weapon of mass destruction back then, and say, you either convert or die. Now, the more Borgian of us, as in Steve Borg, we said, I ain't bowing. And we got the point, literally. But too many of our people did what too many of our people, too many folk, guys like me, too many kin, black, brown, red, yellow. They take the easy way out and just bow the knee to that Jesus fellow. And a comparable psychological operation that's being waged on us would maybe look something like this. Every non-human entity is classified into two categories. They're guys that came from another galaxy, another planet, another dimension. They're gods. They're angels. But every single other being that comes just like they did, to the same place they did, saying they're lying to you, they're automatically demons. I find that contradiction stunning and very, very useful. So these Abrahamics have the world fighting over competing interpretations of their own book. Do you understand that the Jews, the Jewish people, the Christian people, and the Islamic people, they have all the same characters in their books? The same characters that are in the Old Testament are in the New Testament. The same characters that are in the Old Testament and the New Testament are in the Quran. The very same characters. And we got people killing each other, fighting each other, hating each other, arguing about the same characters. Can you believe that? And always remember that advanced technology, walking on water, raising the dead, healing the blind. I've grown eyes in somebody's head before that had no eye socket. They had nothing under their eyelids. I grew eyes in them through my prayer. Does that make me a God? No. That makes me a pretty spiritually strong individual with the gift of healing with a very strong intention. Don't make me a God. Now, I never walked on no water because I never needed to walk on no water. But they hide this domination within their human institutions of government and religion. In the United States, it's over 98% the same thing. The priesthoods and the clergy control the sacred knowledge. The royal families and the elites, including the Trumps, they all claim descent from the gods. Intelligence agencies control all the discoveries. The corporations monopolize all the technology that should be free to everybody. And the media institutions, and we know who predominantly over 80% runs the media institutions. They tell us what's acceptable. They tell us what's right. They tell us what's wrong. Are you starting to see a pattern? And this all came from the movie Stargate, the film Stargate. And yet, so many people just blindly go along with it. If you're not a Christian, you get it. But if you're a Christian, you don't get it. And even really smart guys like Robert Stanley, who's a fairly recent convert to Christianity, one of the smartest guys I know. One of the smartest guys I know. He's decided to go along with it. I don't get it. I don't get it. The whole agenda is designed to keep us from remembering who we are in the great golden age that was. And that might be the most important theme in Stargate. Godlings forbid knowledge because knowledge exposes them. Once humans know the truth, then the Abrahamics narrative collapses. And even most Christians misquote that verse in the Bible. The truth will set you free, because they think they got the only truth. That's not what the verse says. And Christians, 95% of them don't read the Bible. Jeff, we're not illiterate anymore. Then how come 95% of Christians have never read the Bible through one time cover to cover? Yet they're willing to base their eternal destiny on a book they haven't even read. That's ridiculous. Would you visit a doctor that never read an anatomy book cover to cover? No, but you'll trust a God who you don't even respect enough to read his book, the only written word of God to man, one time. The few Christians that have the courage to call in, you've heard me ask them, have you ever read the Bible cover to cover? And they sweat like I do in the relaxed sauna. Because they haven't. So let me get this straight. You believe the Bible is the only written word of God to man. But you can't find the time in your life to read the thing once, just once. Just once. And some of you have the audacity to call yourself truthers or truth seekers. I think somewhere down deep on the inside, your ancestral memory says to you, don't read it, it's not good. But when you apply that to Earth and what they're doing to us today, they're hiding the true age of civilization. And no, it ain't 6,000 years. That's nonsense. They're hiding the origin of religions every other religion that's not an indigenous earth religion. And they're even hiding the origins of them too, because they don't want us to know it was a world of divine, sovereign, and free humans. No war, no lack. We had some skirmishes if you tried to rape our cattle or steal our women, or steal our cattle and rape our women. Like Carmen says, they just parrot what they've been told without question. Most of them. But even the smart ones like Robert are getting sucked in. I don't understand it. This is the reason why they don't want us knowing what's going on. Because they don't want us to discover our potential and what it can do without and outside of their authority. They can't let us know that. They're not just trying to conceal aliens. And here we are, says Dead Wolf. They're trying to maintain a diminished human self-conception. That's why I say to you every deprogram, what if you're not born with original sin? What if the best that you can hope for is not to be a sinner saved by grace? What if you have the spark of divinity within? What if you're divine, sovereign, and free, and you don't have to bend the knee to somebody else's savior in hopes that he'll save you from the sin he gave you? You don't even want a spouse like that. Why do you worship a God that says the beginning of wisdom is fear of me, the Lord? And it doesn't mean reverence. Look it up. So the question I'd like to ask you tonight is not could this be happening, but let me ask this of my Christian friends, if I have any left. What discovery could cause you to give up your Christian indoctrination? If they found the bones of Jesus, which is impossible because he wasn't real, would you give it up? I've already shown you the Bible's full of contradictions, but you won't give it up. I've already shown you that Jesus isn't real, but you won't give it up. What would it take? Tanhawk Group says, I feel like a Stargate. I aim to be a portal or a window to the divine experience. I love that. The raw godling represents any ruling power that converts superior knowledge into sacred authority, suppresses historical memory, and convinces people that obedience is the only way. Sounds just like Yahweh, sounds just like Jesus. Now, the ET hypothesis is the film's surface possibility, but control of humanity by fake gods is the deeper warning of the film. And then they get into the SSP. You think it means secret space program? I dropped this one on Cynthia. She was kind of impressed. I didn't know, Ryan. I didn't want to dox you. SSP doesn't stand for Secret Space Program. It stands for Stargate Space Program. And boom, I'm all over that in the new book, Assault on Camelot. And then the preachers say, God didn't give us a spirit of fear. Paul actually said that. Paul said, for God has not given us a spirit of fear. But in the Old Testament it says, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Same exact analogous Hebrew and Greek words. So what we're seeing today is discovery, government seizure, military classification, compartmentalized research, and public ignorance, which perpetuates the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix. It's a foreign weapon of mass destruction. It's a threat to our sovereignty and our freedom. And they won't tell us the truth because they're afraid it would cause upheaval within their control system, and it would. So the Stargate becomes, like Ryan said, access to other worlds. And even in Stargate, very few people know about the project. The guards only guard what they guard. The technicians only study little bits and pieces. It's called compartmentalization. The military officers control everything. The archaeologists only get little bits. That's how deeply classified programs operate. That's how religions operate. That's how governments operate. Maybe you find that correlation interesting. Access is determined by need to know. Oh, brother, you don't have to ask those questions. Just have faith. They're hiding the true Stargates. And I'm in the business of showing you these true Stargates. And if an ancient technological object is found, the first reaction isn't, let's tell all the people so they can have all the knowledge. The first question is, how can we use this to further our control system? And our right, our divine, sovereign, and free right to free energy, life extension technology, becomes classified information parsed out by governments. So the psychological operation revealed in the movie and applied to today is this. If the Stargate reveals that the gods were just alien rulers, their secrecy is protecting more than that technology. It's protecting the actual foundation of their rule. Because if we ever get true disclosure, and we will, this is part of getting true disclosure, religious authority is destabilized. I get messages about every other day from people saying, Jeff, you set me free. You woke me up. I didn't. I just provided the information they used to do it themselves. Our national origin stories, our ancestral histories would be revealed. The lies about history would be revealed. And we would wake up and realize that our political leaders, our financial leaders, our military leaders, and yes, our religious leaders have been hiding the truth from us. How long are you willing to let people hide truth from you, and how much are you willing to let them hide? And the longer that they can keep up this deception, this occultation of true knowledge, the stronger the spell becomes. And this is why we win. The greater the reaction becomes when we finally realize what's going on. That's why we're going to win. The USA now officially maintains a dedicated UFO record system. Congress has mandated that the government take possession of all local, state, regional UFO data and compile it into a database at the Pentagon under the tutelage of Pete Hegseth. And if that doesn't scare you, you're not paying attention. Thank you, Jay Bing. That's all I'm here to do. The government takes all the information. The government decides what gets let out. And I have a question for you. Is this really the real goal for Christian nationalism? Because if they can make America a Christian nation, they can make sure that no information that exposes the cracks in the foundation of the Judeo-Christian message get exposed. And they can get rid of people like me. Ryan says, your channel helped me unindoctrinate. Great. Great. I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly floating by other butterflies, just helping to wake them up. I float like a butterfly, but I sting like a bee. That ain't Ali. That's me. Jeffrey. Boom. This is what's going on. You can wake up and realize it, or you can continue to be a slave in your own land. Our governments, as J. Mars says, are all under the Abrahamic matrix. I've already proven that to you. And that crazy Egyptologist, he's given a speech to a big crowd, like 500 people. He starts presenting his theories, and everybody walks out. Like I was on Coast to Coast 13, 14, 15 times, approaching 100,000. Some say we crossed it. I don't remember. I'm deplatformed. I'm deplatformed. And then this lady, who was a little girl when they found the Stargate in 1928, she comes up to this Egyptologist. His name is Daniel. She says, hey, I want to give you a job. So she sees this guy that's still getting out of line, and she says, let's bring him in. So they bring him in. They take him to the classified facility. He deciphers the Stargate and says, oh, this is a door to the heavens. He finds out that this will allow you to travel to any place in the universe if you have the coordinates. And even though the government might have the machines, so to speak, only we possess the missing ideas hidden deep within our ancestral memory to decode all these mysteries. So the Stargate gets revealed. It gets revealed as a functioning technology. It gets activated. They go through it. And they find out that it really is a door to the heavens. This is why space is not fake in Jose. It's not fake in Jose. Man with a good comment. Christianity versus non-Christianity is not even the problem. And I get that. Christianity created that dichotomy, though. Before Christianity, we just said, believe what you want to believe. We don't care. But then Christianity attacked us, started killing us, ethnically cleansing us, genociding us. So we've been nice to too many for too long. It's time to tell the truth. They go through the Stargate. They find the planet. And this is a huge disclosure here. Remember E.T.? E.T. phone home. The Stargate guys get to this other world, and they have to phone home to get home. That's why E.T. wanted to phone home. He's trying to get out of Dodge before we get our guns loaded. And we won't even need guns because they're cowards. They'll run. So E.T. phone home, huge disclosure. I'm blowing minds up here right now, dropping bombs. So they go in, they start interacting with the population just like the Tua did in Genesis chapter 6. They realized that this was humans that have been trafficked from Earth. Daniel meets a hot chick, just like in Genesis chapter 6. He forms a genuine bond with her, just like we did in Genesis chapter 6. And that takes Daniel from just this detached academician, and he gets emotionally connected to the people that are affected by this dominance. That's what happened to me. That's why this isn't something I do. It's who I am, and I can't quit it. I can't quit you. Excuse the questionable reference to a crazy movie, but I can't quit you. I can't quit you, cousins. He marries her just like we did in Genesis chapter 6. And this is Stargate, the true disclosure of the truth of the sons of God. So they share food, they share cigarettes, they make friends with these people just like we did in Genesis chapter 6. They realize we're not ancient gods just like Ra. We become allies and friends. And when you're out there calling black people everything but black, and red people everything but red, and yellow people everything but yellow, and brown people everything but brown, you're not about to make an ally or a friend. And as the great philosophers, the Beatles said, we get by with a little help from our friends. We get high with a little help from our friends. I want all the friends I can get. And I'd much rather have black, brown, red, yellow fellow that haven't bowed the knee to Jesus than white trash that sold out their own people. That's a huge disclosure. And it's a huge lesson about racial cooperation in defeating the Abrahamic cabal. Let me just ask you, people that are white supremacists or white only people, are you more likely to win on your own, or are you more likely to get by with a little help from your friends? To get high with a little help from your friends? What's more likely? Are your chances better against the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix with more or less? If you go just by yourselves, they probably will lock and load on you because there ain't that many. But if we join together, red, yellow, black, and white, we got together and we're ready to fight, and we started marching up the hill from our slave houses to the big house on top of the hill. They're cowards. They won't even pick up a phone, much less a sword or a weapon. They'll run. Maybe some of you want a war. Maybe some of you want to fight. I would ask you to ask yourself, what motivates such a desire? Sun Tzu, The Art of War, said, the most powerful warrior wins without drawing his sword. But you want to fight. Why? What's motivating that? Only you can answer that. Only you can answer that. I want to win. But if we do it right, there won't be a fight. And then a storm comes, a big sandstorm, and they get stuck and can't do anything. So they start exploring. And that's when they find the keys to get home and the keys to unravel the mystery. Some of you tonight are going through a storm. And collectively, we're going through a real bad storm right now. Christianity says, just hold out till Jesus comes. Just read your Bible. Just pray. But the divine, sovereign, and free say, why don't we study? Why don't we research? And if you are just holding on till Jesus comes, you're not going to find any answers. But we're finding out we don't need a savior. We're finding out that we've got everything we need within us. Not only are we the last generation of real humans, but as Randall Hilburn says, we might be the last battalion of real humans, and we won't even have to fight if we do it right. One of the overriding messages of Stargate is that historical ancestral memory is the key weapon against tyranny. And this storm that you're in today personally, and this storm that we're in today collectively, it can lead us to the discovery of who we truly are and of the keys to our ultimate victory. If we'll just wake up and open up and learn. They even get captured by the bad guys. They blow them up in the end. They even get ordered to be executed by the bad guys. And the Christian nationalists are on record as saying, if they succeed in making America a Christian theocracy, job one is to institute capital punishment for apostasy. And saying that Jesus wasn't real, that he's a plastic Jesus, that he's an egregore, That will get me on the top of that list. Jay Marr says, I got the keys, and I do. And I used to take the keys and open the cell and go in there and try to drag him out by the ear. Come on, come on, come on. I don't do that anymore. I just throw the key in the cage. You can pick up the key and set yourself free. But if you're waiting on me, you backing up because I ain't going to worry about you. I've given you the key. You can use it or not. And some of us may not get out of here alive. One of the disclosures, thank you, Matthew. I am giving you the keys. I have opened the gates. I don't even open the cell anymore. I just throw the key in. But you have to decide if you want to open your own prison and walk out. Shoot. Oh, one of the great disclosures of Star Trek is in The Next Generation. It's the Klingon character Worf. He says, today is a good day to die. And he's actually quoting an ancient heathen hero named Horatio. And Horatio wrote the words, everybody dies. It's no big deal. There's no reason we should fear death. Death is just a portal. It's just a journey from one existence to another. But great Horatio said, everybody dies. The thing is to die well. And how much better can a man die than facing impossible odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? And how much worse can a man die than down on bended knee, turning his back on his fathers, whizzing on the ashes of his gods to follow an alien savior? That's a strong point. You might want to sit with that for a minute. But seeing all this, those Abaddons, they rebel. They recognize the fraud. The spell is broken when they realize that the gods aren't gods. This is what I do. I show you they're not what they say they are. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear except losing your divinity and sovereignty by aligning yourself with this matrix. Ra's weapons, his technology didn't get any less potent. But his greatest weapon, whether it's Ra or Yahweh, is fear. And when you realize they're not divine, that's when we can and we will win. We will. There's no doubt about it. Even if your wife dies, and Daniel's does. But there's a positive spin on that. He uses Ra's technology, which was stolen from him in the first place, to revive his wife. I believe there is powerful anti-aging, anti-sickness, anti-death technology, if you want to use it, that was pioneered by our people that they've stolen and they're keeping from us. And even if you get victimized and you get unalived, unbreathed, if you want to come back and fight some more, the technology will be made available to do it. They have a big battle at the pyramid, and they win. They expose the false god, and they overcome them. Religion is a prison we choose to put ourselves in. We can also choose to walk out. And like the cowards they are, this is beautiful. When Ra sees that they know He tries to get the hell out of Dodge. He jumps in his ship and he tries to take off. But the Stargate team uses his own technology against him and destroys his ship. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. So the invading gods attempt to weaponize the human technology that he stole is turned back upon him. Sounds like a plan. Our enemies are cowards. They will run when we stand together and fight. We will triumph by turning their inverted weapons back upon them. And our ultimate victory, hear me, our ultimate victory will be won in fake and Jose space. Because we're not going to be satisfied to just run them off Earth. We don't want to let them go somewhere else and do this to some other people. Some of us are going to follow them and rid this solar system, rid this galaxy, and rid this universe of their presence. I'm a catch and release. I'm an exporter. Don't put words in my mouth. And with the gods dead, the humans are free. But where did their liberation come from? From discovering their real ancestral history, from rejecting imposed divinity. We have a planet, we have a galaxy, we have a universe to save. But one of the key takeaways is that inside Raw is probably its most esoterically loaded portion of the film. He's not really what he appears to be. He's not the youthful, beautiful God. That's just a mask for something parasitical, predatory, and non-human. Ra equals Jesus. They're both godlings. They try to look beautiful, but they're covering a monstrous nature. They try to look young, but they're ancient predators. They try to look like humans, but they're not humans. They try to look radiant and royal despite being disgusting parasites. They try to be worshipped of givers of life while feeding upon human civilization. Go back and watch the blood over intent video where I proved from the Bible that Jesus, the egregore shadow man, can only exist on the earth plane by continuing to consume the blood of you, the living sacrifices. I proved it in that deep program. Go look at it. The visible rulers are just hosts. The parasite doesn't even have to be a literal organism. It can be an ideology. It can be an institution. It can be a trauma. It can be an egregore. It can be a controlling intelligence that inhabits the human body. And what else could it possibly mean to ask Jesus into your heart, to ask him to live there as he says he will, to become a living sacrifice, to say, it's no longer I that live, but Jesus that lives in me, to say, I take all thought captive to Jesus. What else is that than becoming an NPC empty vessel? Matthew says he's not coming back. I might, if y'all need some more help, or I might just go out and chase him down. Are you content being an NPC? How do you recognize a false god? They hoard knowledge, they demand worship, they sustain themselves through the sacrifice of others. That sounds an awful lot like the Jesus character. Plastic Jesus. Plastic Jesus. This also aligns with the archons. They maintain control through ignorance, fear, and counterfeit authority. So the bottom line is that we've forgotten our origins. True knowledge is prohibited. Sacred symbols conceal their mechanisms of control. And human servants taken into the Christian Borg matrix continue to enforce the system against people that won't align with it. Wow. And you can be possessed without foaming at the mouth and looking like a zombie. Just sit outside a church and watch them walk in and out. That's what possession looks like. Wow. And did you know that today, even what you think is conspiracy talk is mostly controlled talk? Over 90% of the presenters you know either align with the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix, or they won't say anything bad about it because they're getting paid. 99% of even the conspiratorium is controlled by the Abrahamics, Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, mind control matrix. And Christians are slaves to the proto-Abrahamic matrix. They're its privileged livestock. They get rewarded with wealth and status as long as they continue to feed the monster. A man, the Bible says, can gain the whole world but still lose his very soul. Are you willing to make that deal? Romans 8:10 through 12. I want to show you this. Romans 8:10 through 12. I want to show you this because it shows what the Stargate movie's talking about. I'm going to go to Bible Hub. Don't own it. Not an affiliate. Don't get paid by it. And I keep waiting for the day when they find out who I am and how I'm using it. And they cut me off. I'm going to go full screen on this one. I want to look at Romans 8. This shows you that Stargate's real. So I go down here and I find Romans in the drop down. I want to look at Romans chapter 8. So I go over here and I find chapter 8 in the drop down. I want to look at verse number 10. That's where I want to start. So I go over here and I hit Romans 8:10. And it comes up over here in a more literal translation. You are controlled by the Spirit of God that lives in you. But if Christ is in you, if he's living in you, your body's dead. Yet you live because Christ. This echoes Paul's other writings that said, it's no longer I that liveth, but Christ that lives within me. And then I want to go to 11, so I'm going to hit the little blue arrow. Here's the take home. Here's the thing to take home. If the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, if you're a Christian, Jesus is living in you. He who raised Jesus from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who lives in you. Hallelujah! He's going to give me a glorified body. I'm going to go to heaven, sit on a cloud, play a harp, sit on a harp, play a cloud. You forgot to read your contract because Jesus will give life. I clipped on it. Zoopeo. You're in the zoo. He will make alive. He will give life. He will quicken. See, Jeff, we're going to come alive. We're going to come to life. Something is, but read your contract. He'll give life to what? Your mortal body. What's your mortal body? That part of you which is liable to die. He's farming. Because in giving your body life, he can use you up till you die. But the good thing is, since you gave your body to him, he can just resurrect you and keep using you. because it's your body, that which is liable to death, that he's raising. And if you didn't know that, just to be sure, mortal body, they had to tell you twice. It's the New Testament. It's called Greek double emphatic. Your moral that is subject to death, but also your body. It's just your body, your slave body. Did you know that every place in the New Testament that says servant means slave? It comes from the Greek word sozo. He's only rescuing, healing your body so he can use you again. You're not getting a glorified body. You're getting brought back again. It's the same body as animals have. It's a dead body or corpse in the original Greek. Do you see that? What is your covenant through the blood of Jesus going to bring you? Renewed life to your body, which will become a corpse, and they'll keep recycling you till there's nothing left that they can use. Jeffrey Darty didn't say that. The Bible said that. The Bible said that. The Bible said that. Straight out of Bible Hub. Let me show you this one real quick if I can figure out how to do it. We're winding up. I want to show a window. I want to show that window. I want to make sure the audio comes through, and I want to share it. So look at this little chart. Look at this little chart. The parasite operates on 3 levels. The biological level, the alien inhabits a human body. Jesus inhabits your human body. He said so. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone opens the door and invites me in, I'm just like Dracula. I got to be invited. I will come into him. My Father will come into him. And there we will make our abode. We will live in you. If a demon wants to do it, it's bad. If an alien wants to do it, it's bad. If Jesus wants to do it, it's good. Politically, the government that you know is the problem is 98% Abrahamic. Ra's regime and Yah's regime feed upon an enslaved population. An enslaved population. Spiritually, the false god feeds upon fear, submission, belief. That's why I call myself House MDiv. We're getting to the truth tonight with Stargate Decoded. Did I share that? Did I share that? How do I unshare it? How do I unshare it? Stop. Look at me flying through some technology. Ra and Yah. Every picture tells a story, don't it? So does every letter, as Deborah reminds us. Ra and Yah, they don't need workers, they need worshipers. Because worship is the lifeblood of what they subsist on. And if you quit worshiping them, you might start rebelling against them. And the greatest achievement of both Ra and Yah and Jesus is making the domination feel good, making the domination feel cosmically ordained. Christians are a great big band of masochists. Govern me harder, Jesus. Remember the guy from Sunday? What is this? Is this Sunday? Is this Sunday? Remember the guy from Friday in the bonus deprogram? The parasite offers you what you think is immortality. Glorified body, sitting on a harp playing a cloud, sitting on a cloud playing a harp. But all you're going to get is a reincarnation matrix as a tool in their system. Paul in Galatians 2:20 says, see, I bring the receipts. Paul said, I've been crucified with Christ. Listen, it's no longer I that live, but Christ that lives within me. Paul has become an NPC. He's become a shell indwelt by another being. And so have you, if you're a Christian. Robert Stanley, are you listening to me, brother? The life I live in the body, I just live for Jesus. You're dead. Jesus is living through you. That's a horror movie, but you call it joy unspeakable, full of glory, the half of which has never been told. You got the half of which never been told part right. It presents itself as good while being based on death. Worshippers believe that they depend upon Ra. Worshippers believe they depend upon Yah, but the truth is Yah depends upon y'all. Once the people withdraw from their fear, Ra and Yah are revealed as frightened creatures fleeing in a machine. He's already on the run. I think Yahweh's gone, and just the Jesus egregore remains. They can't create, they can only occupy, imitate, extract from you, and redirect your life force. Everything they have is stolen from you. And when the mask disappears, they're exposed for who they really are. Let's wrap this up. I want to share this with you. Window, that one, sound, boom. Watch this. The entire story, and our entire story, the entire story of Stargate, the entire story of our existence is, number one, discovery. Humanity finds forbidden technology. And we're doing that today. Then comes the decoding. A rejected scholar like yours truly brings you to water and you decide to drink, brings you to truth and you decide to think. And you find your true purpose. You're not filled with original sin. You're not, at best, a sinner saved by grace. And if you bow your knee to somebody else's Savior, He won't send you to that hot place. Then comes disclosure. I'm in the disclosure business, baby. And cousins, that business is a booming. Yah and Ra are exposed as just technological rulers. Remember, when Yah came on the scene, reading was technology. Writing was technology. Then, if you follow step 1, 2, 3, you get to step 4. If you don't follow step 1, 2, 3, you still remain his WHORE. You don't get to 4. You still get to that word. Because when you get knowledge of who you truly are, that will break the psychological power of the false god. Brought to you by House M. Div, Master of Divinity, diagnosing spiritual anomalies since 1999 and just getting started. We're in Stargate Decoded, baby. And this is it. The key's in your cell. The gate is open if you want it to be. And Ra and Yah and all the other false gods are trembling. Hail folk, hail kin. Together we win. Can I just say from the bottom of my heart, woo! Woo! I don't know if I've ever done a better deprogram. I know we haven't had a better crowd in a minute. Even the Bible gives us a great kosher disclosure. My Coke Zero got warm, but it's still good. Multitudes in the valley of decision. Tonight, you're in a valley of decision. There will be peace in the valley for me. Maybe. Multitudes in the valley of decision. Choose this day who you will serve. Will you serve the gods of your fathers? Or will you serve the Lord who came from the other side, who came from beyond? That's what the word Hebrew means. As for me and my house, I'm going to serve my ancestral gods. I'm going to serve me. I'm going to optimize myself. I'm going to first unindoctrinate myself. Then I'm going to optimize myself. And I'm going to do all I can to help others unindoctrinate themselves and help them optimize themselves, be they red, yellow, brown, black, or white. We're in here to get them right so they can help us fight. But we won't have to because our enemies are cowards and they'll take flight. And that'll be out of sight. And a delight. No need to be contrite. Just time to wake up to the bright, sunny day. Christians tell you time is running out. Oh, time's running out. You know what I say? Time, it's on our side. Yes, it is. Time, it's on our side. Yes, it is. They're running out of time. We got all the time we need to do this deed, baby. Okay, says Dead Wolf. Let's ride. I will entertain some rod questions. I'll entertain some phone calls. If Christians ain't going to call during this show, they ain't going to call. Remember your nanosoma. It gets everything out of you that's not supposed to be in you. Go to realgospeltruth.org. You can order it there. Remember your focused life force energy. It gives you a high consciousness environment right to your phone, right to your home. You need that more than ever. They give you a free trial. Don't even ask you to list a credit card. If you want to donate to me, I'm at Unindoctrinate on Cash App, at Unindoctrinate on Cash App. If you want to donate through PayPal, it's Gotham Ltd at gmail.com. And there's also a donate button at www.realgospeltruth.com. There you go. That's it. That's all I got. That's Stargate Decoded. The gate is open. The false god is trembling. Hail folk, hail kin. Together we win. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I hope that you'll ask yourself, do I really have original sin? Or is it possible that I've got the spark of divinity within? Got a caller. Who is it? Where'd it go? Here it is over here. Forgive my bird ring. I never miss a call, though. It might be Jim again. Jim, hold on one second. Let me share the screen. How come you're the only one that calls, man? Everybody else is afraid of me. Okay, you're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. Let her rip. Take us home.
All right, I'd like to say this. People who are watching this show do not understand how hard he writes for the show. He puts up graphics, he puts up typing, the hours and hours of work he puts in. And I just wish people would stop and just realize and look at how hard he works. And if you can, help him. I mean, that's all I'm asking, just help him. Thank you, buddy.
I love you, brother. Thanks so much.
You too. Have a good one.
He choked me up a second there. He's right. Just ask Cynthia. Every D program has 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 hours in it. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So that's it, folks. That is it. That's Stargate Decoded. And we'll be back on Wednesday. We've got a great D program planned for you on Wednesday. I have no idea what it's going to be right now. Thank you, man. I have no idea what it's going to be right now. But on Sunday, I had no idea. Is this Sunday? On Thursday, I had no idea what Fridays was going to be. But something always comes and it's always good. It's always good. So let's go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to shut down the phone lines right now. We won't take any more calls. We won't take any more calls. So don't call, y'all, because I ain't answering. I am not answering anymore right now. But I brought you the mail tonight. I brought you the mail tonight. You are divine, sovereign, and free. Make a choice, and no choice is a choice. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. I salute you for being here seeking after truth. If you're listening to me tonight, you at least have the potential to be one of the last generation of real humans, one of the last battalion of real humans. Divine, sovereign, free, winning. And winning means taking this world back from those that would oppose domination on any people and allowing all people to be free, to worship, to live amongst their people in the way they choose. That's a beautiful thing, and that's my thing. I salute you for being here seeking after truth. This world will be better than it's ever been, even sooner than we realize, because we're waking up to who we are. No one's coming to save us, but they'll come to help us. I'll see you next time. I love you and appreciate you. Good night.